begin with the plow, one of our most universal and important farm machines. In comparison with others, the plow is not complex, yet this is a fact. Probably more study and effort has been expended in the design and development of the plow than in that of any other farm implement. The newest example of modern plow development is incorporated in this Case Centennial plow, equipped for hydraulic control. The primary function of the plow is to prepare the seed bed. The success of field crops depends to a large degree upon the manner in which the plow loosens the soil, mixes and covers surface trash, and pulverizes and aerates the soil. Good plowing is largely the result of a clear understanding of plowing principles and the proper use of the features built into the machine. The Case Centennial plow, product of over 100 years of continuous plow building, is widely recognized for the extraordinary ease with which it does good work under a variety of conditions. Much of the secret of its popularity lies in its simplicity of adjustment. Under most conditions, the Case Centennial can easily be adjusted at the dealer's place of business to do high-class work the first time it enters the ground. That is a tremendous advantage which never fails to make a lasting impression. It's not at all unusual for a new Centennial to roll off the delivery truck and do work like this from the start, with no more field adjustment than a setting of the hitch to suit the tractor. All that is required is a little care in following factory instructions and the application of a little field experience. Because the new owner's first impressions are so important, the dealer can do nothing of more value to his business than take these 4 steps. Number 1, properly assemble, lubricate, and adjust the plow before delivery. 2, see that the plow functions properly when first put to work in the field. 3, instruct the new owner in the care and operation of his plow, including a review of the plow manual. And 4, make a follow-up call a short time after delivery to see that the plow is giving complete satisfaction. In this film on plow pointers, we will attempt to review the highlights of assembly and adjustment so that every Case Centennial plow may be a builder of dealer and product goodwill. Case Centennial plows are correctly designed and carefully built. Beams and other parts are accurately formed by costly dies and fixtures, and heat treated under scientific controls to obtain just the proper degree of strength and toughness. The processes are further checked by subjecting beams picked at random to a test in which they must spring nearly 1½ inches under a force of 5,000 pounds and return immediately to their original shape. But case care does not stop with precision manufacture. The most important parts are assembled at the factory to ensure proper alignment. Here we see workmen fitting red-hot beam braces in place while the beams are securely held in a rigid assembly jig. When so assembled and shipped, there can be no question about the alignment of the basic parts of a Case Centennial. It is only necessary to add bottoms, axles, wheels, levers, and hitch to complete the machine. Regardless of the care exercised in manufacture, no plow can function properly unless it is put together correctly by following closely the instructions for setting up. The first important step is to invert the beam assembly and bolt the bottoms to the beams. With all bolts in place but not tightened, lift up on the share points to take up all slack, and then draw the nuts tight. This is essential for uniform setting of the bottoms. After turning the plow right side up and resting it on the bottoms, the axles can be attached. Follow the manual instructions closely. Be sure that the set screws in collars, as indicated by the arrows, are on the underside of the axles before being tightened. Then, when the axles rotate to raise and lower the plow, the set screws will not catch and cause breakage. Just a word right here about set screws. Too frequently, assemblers fail to tighten set screws properly to prevent them from working loose. To tighten a set screw securely, pull it down firmly with a wrench. Hit it a sharp, square blow with a hammer, and then pull it down again with the wrench. A set screw tightened in this manner will remain tight. Loosening and removing paint from all bearing surfaces is very important. The use of a little paint remover or a scraper will pay good dividends in time saved in the field later on. Failure to clean and lubricate all bearing surfaces during assembly may hinder the proper operation of the plow. On power lift plows, when attaching the power wheel to the oil bath power lift, draw up all bolts uniformly so the wheel will be tight and run true. However, do not attempt to draw the wheel clear up to the flange or the wheel box. The wheel box is tapered, and there will be a space of from 1/4 to 1/2 inch between the wheel and flange when the wheel is tight. 1 pint of transmission lubricant or its equivalent in the clutch housing of the oil bath power lift is sufficient. More may cause leakage. The proper assembly of wheel parts is important. Steel washers should be placed between the wheel box and take-up washer and between the inner sand cap and wheel box. Be sure the sand cap is snug against the wheel hub with set screws firmly tightened. During the life of the plow, grease caps should be kept well filled, sand caps kept tight, and all wear taken up by means of the take-up washer and pin. And here's an important don't. Never tow a plow, even if on rubber tires, behind a truck to make delivery. Although the wheel bearings are built to give long service in the field, they are not designed for highway speeds and may be damaged. The rear axle's bracket must be firmly pivoted to a large steel plate on the rear beam if the plow is to function properly. Especially should the hexagonal nut be drawn up tight to take up all slack and secured with a cotter pin. From time to time, this nut must be tightened in order to permit the rear wheel to carry the land side pressure of the plow bottoms. A snug fit and plenty of lubrication at all times are very essential. To attach and adjust the assisting spring or springs, the plow bottoms must be in the raised position. The springs should be under slight tension when the plow is in the raised position. There must be enough tension to cushion the drop of the plow as well as to assist in raising it. Plows equipped for hydraulic lift require no assisting spring. When attaching the rolling coulters, set the clamps on the beams so the coulter hubs will be directly above the share points and the lower blade edges about 2½ inches above the points. When assembly of a power lift plow is complete, place the plow on a level surface for a suction adjustment. Put the land lever in the 6th notch from the bottom of the quadrant, and the front furrow wheel lever in the 5th notch from the top of its quadrant. Then trip the lift clutch so that the bottoms rest on the floor and are locked down. Plows equipped for hydraulic control have no land lever. Instead, set the corresponding depth by means of the adjustable yoke on the remote hydraulic cylinder. If the plow is equipped with pneumatic tires, the power wheel should be blocked up so that the center of the axle is about 15 inches above the floor. Notice removal of bolts to disconnect the flat steel straps between the arm on the power axle and the arm on the steel plate at the rear of the plow. Adjust the set screw A so the heel of the land side is from 1/2 to 3/4 inch above the floor. Lock the set screw in place by tightening the lock nut. This adjustment is essential for proper penetration of the bottoms and to place the weight on the wheels where it belongs. Now take up all slack in the slotted end of the raising links and connect the flat steel straps by replacing the 2 bolts in the nearest corresponding holes. As shown in the small picture, the design of the upper end of the rear axle includes an adjustment for eliminating landside pressure, thereby reducing wear and draft to a minimum. To make this important adjustment, lower the plow bottoms until they rest on the floor or on level ground. Place a straight edge alongside the rear bottom between the point and the edge of the rear furrow wheel. Loosen the nut B and pull the rear wheel to the left until there is a space of from 1/2 to 3/4 inch between the rear of the landside and the straight edge. While pressing the lock adjusting plate firmly against the vertical steel plate, tighten nut B. As the final step of setting up and adjusting, go over the entire plow carefully, including the factory assembled parts, to see that all set screws and nuts are thoroughly tightened and all cotter pins spread. The plow should be thoroughly lubricated, using both an oil can and a pressure gun. The new plow is now ready for delivery, and in some ways this is the most important part of the sale. So far, the work of preparation has been only that which should precede a demonstration, where everything must click. And that is exactly what every delivery can and should be. Proof on the dealer's part of how sound an investment the customer has made. Therefore, the dealer should by all means arrange to be on hand when the plow is taken to the field so he can start it properly. This affords the finest possible opportunity for a demonstration to neighbors and other prospects. After the plow has been in use for a day or two, it is good business for the dealer to go back and see how it is functioning. Even when care is used in coaching a new operator, he is likely to need additional information. Next to the plow itself, there is nothing more important than the instruction and operating manual, which should always be delivered with the machine. The manual should be kept in a safe, convenient place for ready reference. Before putting the new plow into the ground, all varnish should be removed from the polished surfaces of the bottoms and coulters, so they will scour. Paint remover is best for this purpose, because it will not injure the finely polished surfaces. To avoid corrosion, if a lye solution is used, the parts should be washed with water as soon as the paint has been removed. The points indicated in this picture should be lubricated twice daily, before starting in the morning and again at noon. Carefully study the operator's manual to become familiar with these points. Wheel caps should be kept filled at all times. Use only good grades of lubricants and be sure that pressure fittings are free from dirt. Too frequently, operators fail to make sufficient use of an oil can in addition to the pressure gun. This diagram indicates points which should be carefully oiled at least once during each day of operation. A little good oil applied regularly at these points will make a noticeable difference in plow operation. Demonstrate the correct pitching to the new plow owner to help him get these results. 1. Light draft, lower fuel consumption. 2. Uniform furrow width. And 3. Elimination or reduction of side draft. Probably no field adjustment has greater influence on the satisfactory operation of a plow than the setting of the hitch. Therefore, a knowledge of the fundamentals of plow hitching is of major importance. For satisfactory performance of plow and tractor, both the horizontal and vertical hitch adjustments must be correct. The horizontal hitch is of major importance because it is subject to much wider variation than the vertical hitch. As a matter of fact, most tractor drawbars are of such a height that little or no adjustment need be made in the vertical hitch point of the plow. Any operator can hitch a tractor plow correctly by following one simple rule. The point of hitch should lie within a straight line between the center of draft of the plow and the center of pull of the tractor. Usually, the horizontal center line of pull of a tractor is midway between the drive wheels. This rule, the point of hitch should lie within a straight line between the center of draft of the plow and the center of pull of the tractor, applies to the vertical as well as the horizontal hitch adjustments. But how can we locate the approximate center line of draft of any multiple bottom plow? The rule, as shown here with two bottoms, is to divide the distance between the outer land sides in half and add to the right of this center line 1/4 of the width of one bottom. For three bottoms, as another example, add to the right of the center line 1/4 of the width of one bottom. For single bottom plows, the center line of draft is about 1/4 of the width of cut to the right of the land side. Having located the horizontal center lines of pull and draft, we see here an ideal hitching of the plow and tractor according to the principle just stated. The hitch bar is directly in line with the center of pull and the center of draft. Notice that one tractor wheel is in the furrow and that the front furrow wheel of the plow runs a few inches away from the furrow wall. In actual practice, such a perfect hitch setting is not always possible. When the principles of hitching are not followed, and a plow is attached so that the lines of pull and draft are widely separated, side draft will result. When all the side draft is carried by the tractor, as in drawing A, steering may be difficult. When the plow carries all the side draft, as in drawing B, there will be excessive wear on the land sides. There will be a waste of power, and good plowing will be difficult if either the tractor or plow carries all the side draft. When conditions make it impossible to place the hitch point in line with the centers of draft and pull, every effort should be made to equalize the side draft as much as is practical. With the smaller sizes of plows, for example, it is always advisable to set adjustable tractor wheels as close together as possible. The hitch point can then be pinned midway between the lines, thereby dividing the side draft between the plow and tractor so that both will function satisfactorily. After the position of the main hitch bar has been located, the diagonal hitch bar should be adjusted to regulate the width of the furrow cut by the front bottom. This sketch of a three-bottom centennial behind a Case model LA tractor is an example of correct vertical hitching. The approximate center of resistance of a three-bottom plow is located at A. For most satisfactory results, the plow bar should be in line with point A and C, the point of attachment to the tractor drawbar. If hitch point B is too high, the rear of the plow will not carry sufficient weight for steady running. The points of the shares will wear excessively, draft will be heavy, and it will not be easy to adjust the levers while plowing. If the hitch is too low, the plow will not penetrate easily, and the power lift may not function properly. The spring hitch is provided as a protection against damage to the plow, should a large rock or other obstacle be encountered. To ensure proper operation of the spring hitch, do not change the spring tension unless an adjustment is needed. If the hitch releases repeatedly without necessity, increase the tension by advancing the nut just a turn or two and try plowing again. Changes in spring tension should be made cautiously, because 1/8 inch of spring compression may add 500 pounds to the pull required to release the hitch. After the hitch has been set, the plow levers should be adjusted for easy reach. The land lever on power lift plows controls the depth of plowing. Since it is used rather frequently, it can be adjusted in both length and angle for most convenient operation. The furrow lever levels the plow and is used primarily when opening a new land. It can be adjusted in length to suit the operator. The model BH plow has no land lever. Depth is controlled with the hydraulic cylinder and an adjustable stop. In attaching the portable hydraulic cylinder, the plow can be either in the up or down position. Place the cylinder in position and secure each end with the pins and retainer springs. Place pressure on the cylinder with the tractor hydraulic control unit and unlatch the transport latch. To avoid damage, should the plow be raised, never place the transport latch through the side plates unless it also passes through the hole in the axle length. In removing the cylinder, the plow should be lifted to the highest position first and then latched. When transporting the plow any distance over a rough surface, cushion its weight with pressure in the cylinder. And now, proper setting of coulters and jointers. For most conditions, rolling coulters should be set just deep enough to cut through all trash and leave a smooth furrow wall. As shown at A, usually a depth of about 2.5 inches above the share point is sufficient. Set the hub, as in B, approximately over the point of the share in the blade, as shown at C, in a vertical position about 1/2 or 5/8 inch to the land. In hard soils, coulters should be set shallow. In loose ground, set them deeper, with the hub forward of the share point for more satisfactory results. If the surface soil is loose and contains heavy trash, coulters must be set deeply enough to cut into firm soil. A short board of the proper thickness placed against the plow land side will assist greatly in setting coulters to cut furrows of uniform width. By partially loosening the coulter stem clamps, the correct setting can be secured by turning the stems with a large wrench. Large coulters not only function more satisfactorily in trash, but they last much longer than small ones. Notched or cutaway blades are especially desirable in hybrid corn stalks or other heavy trash. All coulter blades should be kept sharp, the bearings well lubricated and properly adjusted. Jointers are used to aid in covering surface trash. For most conditions, set the jointer with the point as nearly directly below the coulter hub as possible, and at a depth of about 2 inches. The point should be set about 1/16 inch from the coulter blade, with an increasing amount of clearance back from the point to avoid holding trash. Rigid jointers to be mounted independently of the coulters are available if desired. Corn stalks and similar trash can frequently be turned under most successfully when covering wires are used. These wires should be of number 7 or 9 gauge and from 10 to 12 feet long. They should be attached, as shown in the circles, to the lower edge of the coulter yokes, as far forward as possible. A second covering wire on the first bottom gives improved results, especially if fastened several inches to the right of the coulter yoke. As shown in this analysis of plow draft, cutting and lifting the furrow slice accounts for nearly half the total. With this fact before us, the importance of the proper type of bottom and sharp shares is very apparent. In most cases, it will pay to have extra sets of shares to avoid long delays when changing or sharpening becomes necessary. Certain soils do not scour easily, but tend to stick to plow bottoms instead of sliding over them. While this subject cannot be fully covered here, a few basic principles can be mentioned. A type of bottom suited to the kind of soil being plowed is essential for proper scouring. A fine land polish may be obtained by plowing soil which scours easily before attempting to work in difficult soil. A correct hitch, sufficient plow suction and speed are essential for clean scouring. Sometimes scouring difficulty can be overcome by setting the coulter farther to the land, thereby increasing the weight and friction of the furrow slice. To back the plow into a shed or corner, Set the depth control for the shallowest adjustment. Then lower the bottoms, being sure they are locked down. These adjustments on either power lift or hydraulic plows will permit the bottoms to clear the ground, yet hold the rear wheels straight for backing. When the season's plowing has been completed, the mold boards, coaters, and other polished surfaces should be well coated with grease or rust inhibitor before the plow is stored away. Any replacement parts that may be needed should be noted and ordered without delay. To summarize briefly, tillage is the basis of all agriculture, and the plow is the most important tillage machine. Case Centennial plows give unusual satisfaction because of their simple, sturdy design and ease of adjustment. When assembled, hitched, lubricated, and adjusted, as outlined in the instruction manual, they give many years of superior service. The net result is more acres plowed during every hour in the field, lower power costs, and longer life. Such reductions in the cost of producing crops through the best use of labor-saving machinery is the secret of successful American agriculture.